Welcome back, guys. We got one here: struggling savers draining retirement funds to cover living costs. Oh boy, let's get into it. KiwiSaver members are repeatedly dipping into their funds to get them out of financial hardship, in some cases to the extent they're landing back at zero balance. So, for those of you that don't know, KiwiSaver is the retirement fund here in New Zealand. It is the equivalent of a superannuation over in Australia, a 401k over in the US, etc., etc. It's what you contribute to for your retirement fund. Scheme Public Service Trust, which acts as a trustee for around $50 billion of KiwiSaver funds, processed around 20,000 applications for financial hardship in 2024, more than double the numbers seen in 2023. We approve around 3 months or 13 weeks of living expenses, and more and more, there's a large proportion of our applicants, members, who come back at the end of the 13 weeks and haven't been able to resolve their financial hardship. So, for those of you that don't know how it works, I don't know if it's the same in other countries, but how it works with our retirement fund is that you can only withdraw from it in 3 situations. The first situation is if you're 65 and over and you're retired, then you can withdraw. The second situation is if you are buying your first property specifically to live in, not to invest in, to live in. If you're buying your first property to live in, you can withdraw. And the third situation is what we have here, is when you're in a position of what we call financial hardship. And you can do this application online and then you can withdraw, which in this case, they give you 3 months of living expenses from your retirement fund. So people are withdrawing 3 months of retirement funds or living expenses from their retirement funds, and they're still unable to solve whatever problem they have. I don't know. This seems to be like a global thing, but apparently the job market looks like pretty screwed up. The States is obviously, I've been watching heaps of videos. We might do like a video on it, but yeah, heaps of job hiring is just completely cooked in the States. It's the same with here in New Zealand, same with Australia. Pretty sure it's the same with the UK. Yeah, it's just a mess. So the cycle continues, unfortunately, to the point where in many cases they just run out of KiwiSaver funds. So they run out of the retirement funds completely, no future. How about that? The rise of repeat dipping is little surprise, given hardship withdrawals have been steadily increasing since 2022. The Financial Markets Authority figures for KiwiSaver show more than an 82% increase in financial hardship withdrawals for the year to March 2024 compared to 2023, but totaling 264.3 million hardship withdrawals annually still make up only a small proportion of the more than 120 billion of KiwiSaver funds. Okay. Previously, it was mostly a change in employment circumstances or something major to which anyone would say that's obviously hardship. Obviously, heaps of people getting laid off nowadays. But there's definitely more and more applicants in terms of financial hardship where it doesn't take something major to trigger it. Yeah, that's true. In the States, I know here in New Zealand it's not as bad in the States, because in the States most people don't even have $1,000 in their bank account. I mean, it's something in the stats like 40% of the people don't even have $400 in their bank or something, and over in the States, something crazy like that. New Zealand's a bit better, not too much, not too much better. New Zealand, Kiwis, like half of Kiwis probably only have or have less than about $5,000 in their bank. So it actually doesn't take a lot to wipe them out. Like if something happens wrong with your pet, like you got to take him to the vet. If something happens to your vehicle, uh, yeah, you're done. So actually, like it's slightly better than the States, but it's not. It's nothing like comfortable. Like if you're sitting on $5,000, you're still like a little bit on edge. And I know like if you are from the States and you're watching, it's like, oh my god, like I wish I had $5,000. But first of all, keep in mind that the New Zealand dollar is actually not that strong. The US dollar right now is almost double the New Zealand dollar. So like $5,000 of Kiwi dollars would probably be the equivalent of about just under 3,000 US. which is still a lot for some people, but it actually doesn't take a lot to wipe out a couple $1,000, really. Um, right. People, it's like a gradual thing because cost of living, yep, in combination, in particular with mortgage rates. Don't know how it is overseas, but yeah, Kiwis at some point in 2024 were at a 7% mortgage rate for their properties, 7% or over. Yeah, it's a whole. I've looked at properties the entire year last year, and I'll make a video on it. It's ridiculous. People have just been on a gradual slope down, and they just reach a point of desperation. Supervisors and providers are feeling the pressure. The client-facing end, KiwiSaver providers told Good Returns the sheer volume of applications and the emotionally charged nature of dealing with clients in financial strife is proving a challenge for their businesses. Completing the approval process is no easy task for the supervisor either. It's becoming an operational burden for everyone. So obviously, heaps of people are applying and heaps of people have to approve it, which means that they're probably short-staffed and they're being stretched. We've had to increase resourcing despite making considerable process involvements and doing a lot of work around consistency, trying to leverage some technology to improve the process. As providers look for solutions to support the influx of applications, this person, David Callan, says there's little trustees can do to improve what is already a robust, fair process at the end. There's quite a degree of consistency, certainly across our clients or the providers that we look after, but also across the industry. This isn't something where the providers or the supervisors want to compete. Is a single help desk for KiwiSaver members the answer? Probably not. Some KiwiSaver providers have shown an interest in the idea of channeling hardship applications to a centralized point of contact to ease the burden they themselves carry, but also to ensure applicants are dealing with trained staff and getting access to all the options available to them before they tap into their retirement savings. The problem with like doing all this bureaucratic stuff is when you call the number, you get put through to some kind of like robot. You know, like when you call someone and then they go, "Oh, for English, press 1. For this, press 2." And then you press 1, and then you got to go through another menu. For inquiries about this, press 1. For inquiries about changing date and time, press 2. For inquiries about blah, 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 and then you got to go through this whole menu. And then what's even worse is that nowadays some of the phone lines, they actually have this thing where, in a few words, please tell me what problem we can help you solve today. And then it's just stupid because you're just talking to a robot, and then half the time they just go, "Sorry, I didn't get that. Please say again." And then they repeat the whole menu, and you got to wait for them to finish. It's such an inefficient system. I hate the whole like phone menu stuff. It is so slow. It is so frustrating. It's like infuriating. Yesterday actually, my flight got changed yesterday, and I wanted to call the airline service as I was getting off my plane because I had to go to a domestic flight straight after an international flight. And then as I landed, turned my phone back on after I landed from the international flight, it said my domestic flight got cancelled. So I had to call the airline, and that whole phone menu thing became a thing. I had to go through the whole thing, and to this one point, I'm just like, oh my god, this is so frustrating. I cannot it's taking me like 10 minutes to try. I didn't even get through to where I want to get through. I ended up just giving up, hang up the phone, drove to the domestic terminal myself, and just talked to somebody in person. Like that's just, yeah, I hate these phone systems. Anyway, back to the article. Industry representatives have been debating the pros and cons of creating a help desk, blah, blah, blah. They're just talking about they're just talking about how they want to improve the efficiency of processing all the withdrawal applications. So basically, it's gotten worse. Cost of living is everywhere. The cost of living crisis is everywhere, New Zealand included. As a matter of fact, personally, I think New Zealand is probably one of the countries that's been hit quite noticeably. Living here, I've definitely noticed the prices of things going up. And it's complete bullcrap when people say, oh, inflation's gone down. Inflation during COVID was only 10%, 9%, whatever number they give you, which is complete bullcrap. Because first of all, inflation's obviously different across, depends on what you buy. Like inflation in property would be different than inflation in gas prices would be different than inflation in grocery prices. But if you're talking about overall, it's complete utter bullcrap because it is not 9%. Why would you believe the stats that they tell you when you go to the grocery store and everything costs like twice as much? It just doesn't make sense. Like you can't tell me inflation is 9% when gas prices soared through the roof. When I went to the grocery store and I look at the prices and things are twice as expensive, it just doesn't make sense. Stop lying to me. I'm not stupid. Stop lying to your people. They're not stupid. And yeah, I mean, this is the result. Yeah, people are just getting drained to the point where they're just using their retirement funds. I don't know how bad is the situation internationally in terms of people using the retirement funds, but yeah, like this is do they not see how this is like? This is the start of something. Like when people are working and they know they have no future, something else kind of hits them. Like if you're working and you're able to, let's say you work a shit job. If you work a shit job, but you're able to have money left over in your pocket after your expenses and bills, then you have in the back of your mind that you think, okay, I have a shit job, but at least I'm this much richer. I'm building something in the background. It's for some kind of future. There's a path for me to escape. There's a path for me to do something different. I'm not stuck here. But now, it's different. You're stuck. This is modern day slavery. Modern day slavery. What was slavery like? The whole deal with slavery is you're my slave. I give you food. I put a roof over your head. And in return, you do whatever work I tell you to do. When I tell you to do so. That's slavery. And now, what happens is you do whatever work I tell you to do, whenever I tell you to do, and I give you just enough money for you to put food and a roof over your head. Yeah. It's the same. They still give you just enough to put food on the table and the roof over your head, but they just put money in the middle. This is honestly modern day slavery. I personally am in a sort of a lucky situation. I say sort of because it's not entirely lucky because I deliberately planned my life and crafted it this way. But I don't live the average normal life, and I'm not in the average normal financial situation, thankfully. But yeah, this is where we're at. This is where we're at. Where the average situation, if you're in a normal situation, normal means you're screwed, basically. So yeah, this is where we're at. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.